This video contains spoilers for Act 1 and 2 of Silksong. Hey Chakra, do you know where my health went?
Major Silksong Oversights.
Hi there. You might notice that my silk gauge is freaking out a bit at the moment. Also, I'm able to walk around like a zombie. Don't worry, this can all be explained by a very simple phenomenon. Ghosts. Get yourself down to a single mask, lure that sucker next to a scene transition, and allow her to attack you, pushing you into the next room. Bam. 0 health, silk counter going mad. Now, as long as you don't take any more damage, you can do whatever you want. Heal, fast travel, sit on a bench. The visual effect should remain until you quit the game. When I tried to recreate this glitch on the latest patch, I wasn't able to. By all accounts, this appears to be a blatant attempt by the developers to actually fix their game. Emphasis on attempt. Still works perfectly fine with muckroaches. One does not simply outpatch the king of Oversights. Remember how, in the last episode, I talked about the fact that sliding on a breakable wall resets Hornet's animation? Well, courtesy of Adam, it turns out you can actually use this to skip a section of the game, allowing you to fight Forebrothers Sickness and Gron in Act 1. If you go to this part of Deep Docks and repeatedly glide on this wall, you'll eventually become stuck. Once you do, look down and Hornet will start glitching. The game will now think you've been on the other side of the gate, allowing you to jump into the lava below to respawn behind it. Walk to the left, and you're now fighting the Forebrothers in Act 1.
Holland!
What?
I have an oversight for you!
Alright, go ahead.
You can actually sit on a bench with shell shards without repairing your tool. Equipping a tool that I haven't used since getting a pouch upgrade, and then it didn't craft.
Right?
Do I have any idea how this works? Nope, because it didn't work for any of these other tools I tried right after.
Okay then, I salute your efforts, Eggplant Boy. Let's see if we can't get to the bottom of this oversight. I got it to work at least one time off camera when I was using a shard bundle while sitting on a bench. Couldn't recreate that though, so I tried doing what Eggplant Boy suggests, purchasing a pouch upgrade and then putting on a tool I hadn't used since. And, it worked. Sort of, but only for one tool. Truly an oversight of magnificent proportion. Then there was a strange occurrence in my Steel Soul run where, well, you can see it for yourself. Hornet just sort of fails to press down the button at the top of Clockwork Core. I guess she lost some weight doing all that parkour below. I don't even understand how I made this happen. When I tried to do it again, she must have packed on a few pounds because it didn't work. If you go to this spot in High Halls, hiding behind some drapes, you can find 2 black squares completely out of place just sitting there. Looks like someone forgot these drapes were cuttable. Then there's this room which has an even more immersion-breaking black box, but to find it, you might have to change your screen resolution. Normally when I'm on 1920x1080 I can't see it, but if I change my resolution to 1920x1200 and take a look again, ta-da! Oh, and there's another one I found in Greymoor. I wonder what other things are hidden behind screen resolutions. In the last Oversights video, I showed you this clip of a silk snipper stuck in the ground. Since then, I've been instructed on how to recreate this bug, so let me show you. First, you get this fellow to fall off the edge. Then, you lure him down to ground level, and finally, once he's all the way down to the right, you trick him to go back up again. And now he's stuck. Poor Snipper. Can't imagine how it feels to get fooled like that. Sorry buddy, you did sort of do this to yourself. This next oversight involves Moorwing. For the longest time I didn't know this, but if you travel to Greymoor by Flea Caravan before fighting Moorwing, he'll actually fight you in a different arena. You probably knew that already, but did you know that he's able to destroy parts of this environment? And that even once you exit the room and come back, these platforms don't respawn? That's not the oversight, I just thought it was cool enough to mention. No, the oversight is related to this structure on the left. If you lure Moorwing above it and then knock him into a stagger, he'll keep falling into the floor for a good 2 seconds before actually landing. But at least he does eventually land. Pictured here is one of my viewers utterly cheesing the boss to death while he just floats there helplessly. This shows the extent to which my viewers are willing to employ any wicked exploit just to get a slight advantage. And having recently stumbled my way to the Steel Soul 100% achievement by quitting out of the game every time I was about to die, I couldn't be more proud. I assume Team Cherry tried to fix this bug but weren't able to completely squash it, leaving behind this strange artifact. That's only a theory though, perhaps I'm just bad at recreating oversights. Bosses are rather peculiar creatures in this game. Because their attack patterns are at least partly dependent on the environment, you can often see them do pretty strange things, at times resembling brand new moves. The first one I found is in the fight against Second Sentinel. Now, pardon the poor quality, this is me recording my brother Freddy playing because I actually wasn't able to recreate the scenario on the latest patch. And when my brother was playing, it happened all the time. If it were fixed, it was done very recently. This footage is no more than 2 weeks old. Anyway, here's what happens. Second Sentinel jumps into a corner and does her shockwave attack, sending her back into the wall. Touching the wall prompts her to immediately use the move again, triggering another shockwave. Finally, she finishes the combo with an aerial lunge. And get this, she's able to do the shockwave attack 3 times in a row before doing the lunge. 3 times. Now, here is why I think this is unintended behavior and why it might have been fixed. 1, she only seems to be able to do this while in a corner. It really looks to me like she's being pushed into the wall, which is what's allowing her to spam the attack so rapidly. 2, it just makes no sense for her to do the same attack that many times all at once, only to finish with a lunge that also hits the same area. Does she really think Hornet is stupid enough to walk in front of the same attack, hitting the same spot 4 times in a row? Bordering on patronizing there. And then the other boss who can do a sort of secret move, so to speak, is Lace. Now this one actually looks pretty awesome. What you do is bring the Sting Shot tool into the arena and then allow Lace to trigger it while moving downwards. Normally she would just land on the ground, but if she hits the Sting Shot first, she does this amazing variant of the move where she immediately dashes downward again. I mean, just look at that, isn't that cool? If I didn't know any better, I'd think this was some kind of scrapped attack. And then finally, I have a continuation of the unused room we looked at last time. Now, this one I didn't find myself, and I should emphasize that this is not an oversight, but just a really cool piece of scrapped content. If you go to the hallway between Bellhart and Greymoor and use a mod to fly through the wall next to the lift, you'll find this, a completely unused part of Bellhart. It includes a downwards drop that might have at one point been connected to the hallway below, as well as an entrance that goes into the environment. Sadly, walking inside just teleports Hornet to the same location she was already in. The area is even drawable on the map, suggesting it might have been cut pretty late. According to the Silksong wiki, the room is apparently labeled Belltown Room Fisher, indicating potential ties to the pond catchers of Shellwood. Although keep in mind, this is little more than speculation at the moment. But that's all for now. If you have any cool oversights that weren't covered in the last video, feel free to comment them down below or send me an email. Also, check out the other episodes by clicking the link down below. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.